Hey, I am live. This, I gotta start with just my annoyance of the delay of restreaming to Facebook. I have to put that counter in 15 seconds. I think it's plenty of time, but it can sometimes take me a while for it to kick in. So if I'm looking around the screen, please forgive me. But welcome to the one to one thing drop-in event. It's the water cooler event. I rock up here every Wednesday around this time, 4:30 UK time, and I just sit here in front of a screen. And hopefully, when I go live in LinkedIn, people go, "Oh, Steve's on. Let me go say hi." And I'm just one of those kind of reverse stalkers. I sit in a spot, and as people go by in their day, they rock up and say hi to me. Some regulars come in, some people who get the invites every week and say they're going to show and then don't show. But I'm not judging. It's totally fine. I understand. Lots of things are fighting for our attention these days, including me. So that is totally fine. But I like the exercise of showing up every week and some people go, well, is it worth it? Should you still be doing it? Should you change something? I don't know. You let me know if the format doesn't work, if it's too vague. People say it's too vague. We don't know what we're showing up for. Other people like that in terms of it being refreshing. Um, for me personally, it is really an exercise in being open to communicate and actually having the tools and the ability to communicate when you don't know what the topic might be or where people's head are at and or where their what their agendas are. And I'm hoping that if I sort of resonate in the world at a certain frequency, not the right frequency, but a certain frequency, that it will resonate with people that are in my space or around my space. So that's basically why I do it and why I show up every week. And this week's been last week was very good. We had a very insightful chat around the cooler and some good stuff. It was great to see Carl and Sandra on live with us. Always fun. Actually, I was going to mention what I was up to this morning, and the lady is actually in the green room. I'm going to invite her to the screen here. Claire, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So I'll just stop you on LinkedIn
Oh,
because
yeah,
I can,
you'll hear me twice otherwise.
yeah.
So Claire,
Where have you
yeah,
gone now?
I was just gonna say to it's funny because I do these things like I said every week, and sometimes I go to the room and there's people already there, which is great, and then other times I'm sort of waxing lyrical for a few minutes that feels like days. And I was just going to mention that I had a great podcast chat with you this morning. So
All right, hang on. I'm getting. Oh, there you are. Is that? There you go.
there you go. Yeah, it is. It is strange. How was it? How was your experience getting onto this platform? Is it
It
straightforward?
was fine actually. It was a lot easier than when I tried to do one of these last time, and it just disappeared into a black hole.
Okay.
So yeah, I kind of went onto LinkedIn, and I saw your restream. Come and join for a chat. So I thought, yeah, I'll come and say hello.
All right.
It's not like I
Fantastic.
haven't spoken to you for ages.
And you got a cuppa. That is
Hmm.
perfect. Yeah,
I've
that is
just been
perfect.
on and off calls all day, so I thought I'd grab a quick cuppa and then come up and chat to you.
No, that is great. And like I said, yeah, I asked about the ease of getting onto the platform because I use, as you know, I use Riverside for podcasting, and I'd use the Restream for the live events. And already you can see I moved our screens around, so I've got
I
the
was busy trying to stop you when I saw that
talking in
going on.
the
So yeah, like, where am I? What screen am I on? How many tabs have I got open?
yeah. But yeah, I must say that Restream does pip the post with regards to this sort of layout in terms of what the screen looks like for people that are on the call. Um, and but I do I again Riverside has got its real power I think in the Talking Head podcast post production stuff. So all that to say one and the other. But so you've had a good day. apart from
Mm.
talking to that chatty podcast host?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's been a good day. I've been doing my newsletter, um, whizzed up to the garden centre to pick a plant up. Came back, had some lunch, went on to another call. That was kind of almost two back-to-back calls, and then
Yeah.
I'd put down to drop onto this one. So I'll do that, and then I'm running one of my own lives later, early evening. So I'll be
Okay.
finished for the day.
Okay. What time is that? Maybe
That
I'll return the favor.
is at 6 o'clock. It's in my Facebook group, which is Better Time Habits.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit like this water cooler moment. I'll go in there and I might be talking to myself, but I'll usually sort of share a quick tip. I've had so many new people coming into that group.
Hmm.
I set this up as a regular recurring event, and then I kind of thought I probably need to just invite everyone onto it each time,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
more people are aware. But I think people are so busy and get bombarded with things, and you're on different time zones, so they can
Yeah.
go in and watch it later.
Yeah. That's
So
fine.
yeah,
Well, that's good. So it is captured for replay. Yeah. The
yeah,
live.
it's done as a live, so it's there
Mhm.
in the group. But I think Facebook is now changing.
Again.
It only holds on to things for like 30 days, I
I
think.
saw that. I saw that
Yeah.
warning that yeah, you got to take things off the platform. Um, over a certain time or something. I mean, other people
Yeah.
can speak to that, but yeah, um, I guess that's when you've got 1 billion or 2 billion people on your platform, you can do what you like.
Yeah. Well, because yeah, I mean, the ones I've got on one of my other groups, they've like been there forever and they're still there, and people can go through and access it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess if you multiply 1 billion up by all the megabytes of
Yeah,
data,
yeah,
you just need to keep adding and adding and adding. So I
yeah,
guess they need to have some cutoff point.
yeah.
So
No,
it makes sense.
that's fair. That's fair enough. How long have you had a Facebook group?
Mm. Facebook was one of the last social media platforms I kind of engaged with. I did it personally to start with, and then I
Mhm.
set up, I've got a balance your productivity page, because they also kept changing pages to groups and groups
Yeah,
and pages.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I did have a couple of groups, and then I set the page up, balance your productivity, and I've got quite a lot of people on there, again, how
Mhm.
engaged they are. And people just tend to sort of click on these things and join, and then
Yeah.
you never see them again. And then my best time habits one I set up as a way, it's free to get in, but you
Hmm.
just have to join it, just so I can kind of check you out when you come
Yeah.
in, um as a way of just sort of engaging more with people before they maybe come on to something else, and
Oh, okay.
sharing things. So it's been a bit quiet, but I've had quite a lot of new people coming in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do need to get in there on a more regular basis with them.
Yeah.
So,
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I would yeah, share with me the Facebook group link. I
okay.
definitely want to sort of swap notes and get a better perspective on leveraging or using the groups, using Facebook groups more.
It's yeah, I was also using one for each of my, whenever I set up a course or I was running my membership, I'd have a
Hmm.
separate group for that, and then people would come and go in there. So it was quite sort of juggling things. And then there's the
Yeah,
time commitment of going into it as well. So
yeah,
this is right, where's chat?
yeah. You can stick it in the private chat or the chat there.
Oh, private
Let's
chat. There we go.
let's see. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, fantastic. I'll grab that.
Do with it what you will.
I'll grab that off there and and say hi. That's cool. That's very cool. So yes. So what are the I don't know if you were to preempt your drop in there. What are a couple of the things you're going to share today?
Um this time around is kind of going to be around, I'm trying to think what I talked about last month. The prioritizing thing. There's a free 5-day plan your week challenge that people go through. So
Hmm.
it's really around that. And actually, my newsletter is around delegation, so I may
All
just
right.
go in and see that. Again, it's Facebook. I sometimes have a real nightmare with going live. I think one of the first ones I did, I went live and there was no sound. And I was thinking, shall I redo it? And then I listened to it myself I switched the captions on,
Yeah.
and I thought, I can redo it, but you can watch it with the captions. And no, you couldn't hear me at all. And I have that quite often with Facebook. If I go into Facebook, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You think it's
Mm,
working and it's not.
yeah.
And yeah, that's why I'm much more comfortable with Zoom.
Right. Right. I think.
Or I need to give something like Restream a
Mhm.
go.
Yeah. I when researching this stuff, I looked at StreamYard, and it was really close between the two of them. I know some podcasters and live people use StreamYard. It's very
Mm,
very popular. It's got the right kind of connections with,
yeah.
especially with Facebook. Um, but even Facebook changed recently, and I stream to a group, to a Facebook group, but it requires me to actually turn on the connection. I have to do the web streaming connection separately.
Mm,
Whereas when I go link into LinkedIn, it's automatic. It just, as I go live in this platform, it goes live in LinkedIn, which is very nice.
mm.
Um, so it really sometimes it's not so much the platform that you're using to stream from, but the platform you're streaming to. Yeah, so it gets a little bit.
Especially when they change things,
Yes,
which
yeah,
Facebook frequently does, because one
yes.
day something's working and then they change something. Because I think they have changed that you can't stream to a page
Hmm.
now. I think that was the other thing. I couldn't stream from Zoom into my Facebook group because they've
Right.
changed that.
Yeah, that was
Um,
April. I think they changed that. That was a
yeah,
recent
so
one. Yeah,
you just get used to working
to
one way and
doing
then
it.
they change something.
Oh, dear.
This
Oh,
technology is all very well, but
yes, yeah. So you went to the garden center. Let's switch gears
yeah.
here. So that's a bit of self care, right?
Oh, definitely. Well, I'm lucky because it's literally just up the road. It was sort of 20-minute walk, 15,
Nice.
20-minute walk maybe. So I thought walk in the sunshine, get a bit of
Yeah.
exercise as well. They'd set aside, I mean, it's a nice, really small, it's basically in someone's garden.
Oh,
So it's a
wow.
really nice, small, bit more of a nursery than the garden centre.
Mm,
But they have some quite nice, unusual stuff. So they set aside a plant for me, messaged me earlier in the week, and I thought, oh, I'll pop up and collect it because they're not open every day.
right.
And it's not raining today. It's a lovely day. So, yeah,
Yes.
walked through a little park to get up there, came back, grabbed some lunch on the way back. That's one of the beauties of working for yourself and working from home. You can kind of be a bit flexible with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I like that. So is gardening one of your hobbies?
It is. I love my garden. I've only got a little garden, but I do, and I want to sort of get out there either in between this and the next call,
Yeah.
Friday I'll finish my newsletter, or after that, because at least we've got more daylight
Daylight.
hours now.
Yeah.
So yeah, just get out and do stuff in the garden
Yeah. What
and
is
think
it
of all the other
about?
things I ought to be doing.
Well, that's interesting. I saw your body, your reaction changed when I said gardening, and it's like what I appreciate people who are gardeners, and I appreciate things that grow. Um, so it's not wasted on me. But what is it about? If you were to convince me to get out and garden, what would you say are really the.
It's good for the soul.
Oh, you
It's
went
definitely
straight for
good
the
for the
soul.
soul. There's there's definitely some. I mean, I've always been into wildlife and things like that from a very early age, but having my own space to grow things and see things. I mean, just yesterday, which I haven't actually put up on my Instagram yet, I took a photo. I just happened to do a sort of, as I often do, wander out either with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or
Mm,
when I'm cooking something or doing lunch, because still cooking things even though it's really salad weather at the moment,
yeah.
in theory. um, and there was this amazing beetle. I mean, it was about yay big,
Wow.
bright green, emerald green, shiny beetle that I'd not seen before, that was just sitting on a flower. So I'm always spotting things like that and
Mm.
talking to my frogs in the pond. And
Ah,
those are those this year. But yeah, just little sort of bits of nature and seeing the birds that are around and the flowers, because
yeah,
everything is different and everything's growing so fast and changing. And I just like growing things or trying to grow things.
yeah.
I've got a few veggies out there. I've got loads of tomato plants coming on. But there's something about being able to switch off from all
Mm,
the busyness going on,
mm.
when you're doing something like gardening and sort of being in touch with the soil. And I'm always wandering around in bare feet, which can be a bit of a hazard sometimes. But it's good to get that sort of
Yeah,
that little bit of nature. And if you're feeling stressed out, even just, and I used to do, again, I'm quite lucky with where I live. I can sort of go out and be in fields and
mm,
countryside, and there's a bit of common land here. And I used to do that quite often. If I was stuck on a problem or I couldn't think what to write in my newsletter, I'd just go off out for a walk and then come back again.
yeah,
So yeah, we do need to get out in nature more and be more in touch with nature. Otherwise, you sit in these sort of four walls of our office,
yeah,
staring at a screen all day. It's good to get out and about.
yeah. I, yeah, yeah. Yeah. There's quite a few hooks in there that would convince me to garden right away. Seeing things grow is is powerful, and actually, it requires us to take the time to see them grow because they don't grow straight away. You know,
No,
you've got
no.
to, like you say, you've got to be out there regularly. You're out there with a cup of tea. You're out there after when the potatoes are boiling on the cooker, or you're just pottering around, literally pottering around, and just
Mm,
you know, and then it's the ability to notice things, and then switching um, is the key thing as well. Really switching, not just opening up another tab on a browser. That's not switching, which I'm guilty of. I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing something else now. I'll just
yeah.
change my browser. It's not.
Yeah, I'm just looking at all the tabs I've got open at the moment. Closed down a few things I was working on. So, and
Yeah.
also because I look out my window, and I'm quite a keen bird watcher as well.
Okay.
And I can see only one of them at the moment, but there were two small gull chicks on the one of the roof. It's quite far up in my
Mhm.
little close. And I was just thinking, gosh, they've got big quickly. I mean, they can only be a week or so old.
Wow.
So watching them, and then I see birds flying over, and it's that seasonal thing as well of seeing the
Yeah.
different birds that are flying over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I want. I like I said, it's a water cooler. I don't necessarily have a theme, but I'm one of those people that whenever we talk in this platform, I always think of how it ties back to just being our best selves or being healthy, and making it productive.
Mm,
We don't have to have 10 bulleted things to go and take away, or we don't need a call to action on the back of every time we open up a browser. Um, they're useful. I'm not knocking it because we all do that. But there's times when you just want to think about stuff in a more neutral way. And like like I said, being positively distracted is really nice. And taking the time to notice, um, and the power of really switching. For me, it's music. For me, I think my real switch comes from physically being out. I'm in Lancaster, which is a
mm,
lovely town,
mm.
small city. Yeah, it's not a city, I guess. I don't know what qualifies as a city, but
It's
if it was a,
usually that it's got a cathedral.
we have a
Used to be the
cathedral.
criteria
Yeah,
for being a city, but now, and Brighton is a city and doesn't have a cathedral. So yeah, they've kind of changed that slightly.
yeah, yeah. It's a cathedral, so it's a
Yeah,
small
there you go.
city. Pretty canal. Canal runs north south, and we got the Loon River runs east west, and I'm a I'm a I'm a good walk from Morecambe. It's about
Okay. So
5 miles,
you're not far from the Lake District.
not far from the Lake District at all.
Love that
Uh,
part of the world.
yeah, so it's really nice. And it doesn't take long to be in a. I've got a beautiful park. I'm up on the hill a little bit, the raised area within Lancaster, so I can get up from where I live and be at the Aston Memorial, which looks over Morecambe from Lancaster, so it's pretty high up,
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
beautiful. And so switching in that respect, physically switching in terms of where I am at. I like music. One of the things, I'm a musician. I don't think I'm a musician, but I do. I'm trying to learn the saxophone more,
Oh, wow.
which is it's an interesting instrument. Um, it's a noisy instrument for one,
Mm.
and that makes it difficult to practice. And also, I play cajon. So people who've been on recent calls have heard me talk about playing the cajon, which is a box. Basically, it's a percussion.
Okay.
It's a looks like a crate. You sit on the crate, and it's between your legs, and you knock away on it. So I like that. And there's lots of live music in Lancaster, so I can be at open mic sessions playing, 3 4
Oh,
times a
wow.
week. So
Oh, you're not that bad a musician then if you're doing open mic sessions.
well, yeah, and again, that's a there's a lot of that came about because it's a lot of it's a lot of the coaching. It's a lot of the coaching mentality that goes into that, because like you just said, you can't be that bad if you're playing an open mic. Where you set your bar in terms of doing something is often entirely inside you.
Yeah.
Sure, there's got to be some objective level, because if you're playing with somebody and you can't keep a rhythm, then either they're not going to invite you back again, or they'll just say very nicely,
Mm.
"Oh, you sit this one out, Steve." So, so as long as I mean, and some musicians, I'm okay with being asked to sit out on a set or
Mm.
on a song, because either the rhythm's not appropriate, or they're practicing, or sometimes they don't feel competent to play with another musician, so
Mm.
guitarists will just play by themselves, and that's totally, I've got no problem with that. But it is interesting because the coaching mind kicks in and says, what are your blockers? What are your beliefs about what you're doing? And are they stopping you from what you want to do? And,
Mm.
how do you get better? And how do you show up authentically? I'm not pretending to be something I'm not, but at the same time, being open to opportunities to play and gig with folks. So I'm always thinking about my thinking. Right
Amazing.
into what we talked about planning. I'm always planning my planning.
Yeah. I always admire anyone that can play a musical instrument. I think I managed recorder and xylophone at school, strangely enough. Um, did try and kind of teach myself to play guitar, but it's I usually end up with so many different hobbies,
Mm,
sort of go from one to the next. But yeah, gardening and wildlife and nature generally is always there somewhere.
yeah, yeah.
So
You grew up. Did you grow up with those things? Were they influenced by parents or?
um not particularly,
Oh,
really. I mean, my mum is really into gardening, and I garden very differently. Well, not hugely differently from her. I mean, my garden, because it is wildlife friendly, it's kind of I'm not too. I do get slightly fed up with the slugs and snails eating everything when I sort of just planted out my runner beans, and I come back from a
you're
weekend and
full of
there's
it.
this sort of spindly stalk because they've just stripped it. um, but yeah, I mean, like I'm not my little patch of lawn, which isn't really a lawn, it's grass, but it's no mow May was, and I
Right.
probably won't. It's got more wildflowers coming into it, so I probably won't mow that for a while. Um, yeah, I'm not out there every day deadheading and pruning and tidying things up.
Mhm.
So a lot of it I just leave it to get on with it, or I see a gap, or I was at the garden centre at the weekend. It just happened to be passing. Thought, got to pop in there. It was an independent one, which is nice.
Mhm.
And there were two plants in there which had bees on them, and I thought, right, I'm having those. I did kind of need some plants to fill some gaps, so I sort of chose it based on ones that had flowers on and that the bees were interested in. So yeah.
That's crazy. Uh, oh,
Yay. Hi,
yeah.
Carl.
We're on the same.
Hello. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes,
You
yes.
Hi.
can. Okay. It's literally a flying visit because I've got to drop my son off at the station. But I've been listening to your conversation, and I thought I'd just pop in, say hello, and let you know that I'm listening. But I will have to drop off in a couple of minutes to take
Put
him
a little
to the
heart,
station.
up
So,
there.
yeah.
Good to see you, Carl.
And you. And so you're talking about your garden.
Yes, yeah, we were
Wildlife. When you say
garden conversation.
you said wildlife friendly, what have you done to make it wildlife friendly?
Well, anything for birds and bees, and I've got my little pond for the frogs. I do feed the birds, put water out for the birds. It's not too tidy, so there's loads of space for sort of bugs and beetles and creatures, and I'm always amazed at how much I get in my little, it's a really small space, how much I can sort of get in there. And I just like seeing, I was just saying I saw this amazing beetle, which I will stick up on my Instagram. I just wandered out and saw it there, and I've wandered out and seen really unusual things, even in my tiny little barrel pond, which you wouldn't even know it was there. It's so covered over at the moment. I've had amazing dragonflies coming in there for a sort of a local, which for a small space on a sort of very suburban estate, it's amazing what does come in. I've had sparrowhawks in the garden.
Wow.
Not quite so good. So what else? Foxes running around out the front, and there is a badger set in the park, and the foxes are obviously in the park, so they tend to be very urban and come across and wander around. So
yeah, we've got a foxes, I don't know if you call it a den or what, yeah, in our garden, and the female fox has had 4 cubs.
wow.
And so
yeah,
they've grown from nothing to full-size foxes in like 2 or 3 weeks, and just to see them, and I think the mother's probably abandoned some of them now because we see them on their own rather than as a group of 5. But the little ones have grown quite a lot. But apparently, we saw a stag beetle the other day. We went for a walk with the dog,
wow.
and apparently they're now an endangered species, and
Yeah.
you're supposed to
Wow.
report where you've seen them so that people can keep track. I mean, they were everywhere when I was a kid. Do you remember stag beetles back in the day?
Not particularly. I mean, I would love to get stag beetles here. I think they are very in sort of certain regions, and they like dead wood. So that's why I'm always leaving dead wood. And I've got my bug hotel. Actually, it was a bug bench. So I built this bench out of bits, and it was an old bench that had collapsed. So I just filled it up with and put a couple of shelves in. And I've had the solitary bees going in and out and building their nests at the moment. And I've got a log pile, but I think, yeah, getting a stag beetle might be a bit optimistic in my garden, but you never know. You never know.
Well, if they could become endangered in our lifetime, it just shows how quickly things are speeding up, doesn't it? So, they were. I remember we did projects at school on stag beetles and all kinds of things, but now being endangered, I guess people can't do that. So,
well, there's so many birds and insects that are endangered, and even honeybees. And I was talking to somebody the other day about gulls, and they were saying they don't like gulls. And I said, well, actually, gulls are on the red list. Where I am on the coast, you see them all the time. And even sparrows. I mean, I'm lucky. I've got lots of sparrows that come in and visit my garden. They sort of sit in a huddle in a cherry tree and come piling in if there's any food or for a bath. So there must be 10, I think I've seen 15, 16 at the most. But so many areas just never see a sparrow.
Well, there you are, Steve. I think with your dulcet tones, you should do your Richard Attenborough and have a wildlife podcast that everyone can come in and share their stuff. Yeah.
You know what? The takeaway from this already is, one, I appreciate people that will show up for as long as they can to just say that hi. So I appreciate you jumping in, Carl. I appreciate Claire actually sharing the quality of switching gears, really switching, getting out your seat, moving around, having another space. I didn't know about things that were red listed in terms of being endangered. I do remember a stag beetle. Growing up, you see them in books and things. It was the beetle. It's like the beetle of all beetles back in the day. And to think that things are going into extinction in our lifetime that had been around for millennia is kind of strange. It shortens that timeline that we think of things.
Yeah.
And to your point about making people aware, I think if we don't pay attention, there's a lot more things that will go into extinction before we know it. You know, it'll only be in a book, or it'll only
Mm. Mm.
be on a. I mean, there'd be nothing worse than having a virtual zoo. You know, where you've got stuff that
Yeah.
people have made a hologram out of because it was around when your mum was around or your parents were around, and it's
Yeah.
not around today.
Well,
There you
they're
go.
only pictures in books.
Well, there's your topic for your next posts, both of you.
Yes, yes.
You've gone very philosophical there, Steve. So
the power of paying attention.
Yeah. And there's a lot to that. And, you know, I think it's something we need to be reminded of, because we do take things like that for granted.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't, you know, because time is moving so quickly and we're not aware of it. And the damage that we're doing as well by not taking care of those things.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can get into that one. Taking things for granted. I'm writing that down, for granted. It implies that what you are taking for granted is either going to be around for you to come back to, or you don't care about it enough to take it for granted. And not caring about it enough to not take it for granted means that it doesn't fit into the hierarchy of things, you know, in terms of there's things you should dismiss, you know, that's life, you know, the 80-20 rule, right? You can't carry everything because everything doesn't have the same weight or value. At the same time, you know, that risk that we have of dropping something that has a consequence down the road or down the line, not seeing bees or not seeing birds and thinking, oh, okay, I haven't seen a bird for a while, but you don't know the knock-on effect of nature. In nature, when you don't have bees pollinating flowers and you don't have certain ecosystems in place, and it's not in your backyard, like you say, you're near Brighton, and you know you see gulls because you're near the coast. I see gulls, and I'm 5-6 miles in.
Well, they've moved. Sorry, Cole, do you need to go?
I need to go, but it's just lovely to see you, and I just thought I'd pop in and say hello. It's lovely to see you.
All right,
good to see you.
Great to see you. See you. Thanks so much. All right, have a great week.
Bye for now.
Yeah, the whole gulls thing is gulls have moved inland because we've kind of made it easier for them. We've given them nesting, and I'm looking at the gulls on the roof. They used to nest on cliffs. Now they nest on roofs. Rubbish tips, you see a lot of gulls there, so it's a ready source of food for them. It's the same with foxes, urban foxes in particular. They've got a ready source of food in the rubbish that we get rid of. So some of them are adapting to living with us, and that's kind of why I'm passionate about my garden being a haven for wildlife, as much as it is. I mean, it could be an awful lot more, but everything that I put in there is about increasing the diversity in there and seeing things. I've had a lizard in my garden. I never in a million years thought I would see a lizard in my garden.
Right.
As I said, it's on sort of a small housing estate, essentially. Yes, there's a park not too far away, farmland not too far in the other way. And it was like when I first built my pond, it's half a barrel pond, the original one was, that I sunk in the ground, and frogs appeared within weeks of it being there. Took them a while to lay the frog spawn, but within weeks I had frogs in it. So they're around. If we just allow it that time and space. And I think it's really important for us, you were saying about that sort of connection and switching off. When I was working in an office 9 to 5, especially in the winter, it's dark when you go in, it's dark when you get home, you kind of miss out the cycle of the seasons. So being able to work from home, much more connected with it. And it's a good excuse to go out in the garden at lunchtime and see what's going on.
Wow, that's very cool. I think my screen looks like it's frozen, but I can still hear you okay.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh no, you're back. You're back.
It's coming back now. Okay. It may have been a web web upload thing. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that works out on the replay. My video, my
Good.
camera's blurry now. What's up with that? Let me just see if I can fix that real quick. So when you're doing a live, you got to make sure you got everything
Do it on the fly.
everything in play here. That's
Yeah, I have got no, I haven't got Chrome open. I've got an app I run on
okay.
Chrome, and when that's up, it really just there's obviously something in it that just, or is something on my laptop that just grinds everything to a halt.
Yeah, I think
So,
I've
but
got
I
something
haven't.
that's interesting. I've never had this. It's only it's that's interesting. It's interesting. It's only on the it's on the replay and not on the source. Let me
Okay.
try something real quick while we're going live here. This is me messing with stuff live and direct. I have another camera. I'm on a camera in front of my monitor, and
Okay.
let me
You
see
switch
if
to
I
a different
can.
one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I did have it in the room as an extra camera. Whoops, there we go. Let's have a look here. Did I just lose? Oh, I'm back here, and
I'm still
plus,
here. Yeah, I'm still here.
yeah, you're still there. Let's just bear with me a second here, and
So I just thought I'd close down a couple of tabs.
extra camera. Am I? There we go. Extra camera, FaceTime camera. That's blurry too. Video resolution, auto. Standard definition. Let's do a standard definition. Oh, that is interesting. It's not the cameras, it's Restream.
Okay.
Because
Do they have a sort of things get busier and they throttle stuff back? I was just thinking it's that 5 o'clock time.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Everyone's at home.
There's some video settings. Let's have a look at the video settings real quick here. There's Insta-link. Yeah, I am very, very blurry on this. That's the other camera. Hello. Oh. And that's blurry too.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
I can look at my big screen.
Yeah. Auto. Oh, here we go. I think that's a bit better now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes find if I've got something on auto, it's blurry. So I have to go in and change the resolution to, even if it's essentially the same, and then it looks a lot better.
Yeah. So. Yeah. The contrast isn't that great. It's video, high definition. There's not much else I can do with the video settings. Okay, I'll leave it at that. That is fair enough. It could be my camera. Anyway, all good.
Right.
Now this is good. So yeah, we a little apart from that segue there in terms of that's what happens when you go live. Anyone watching this, it's not always smooth sailing. and these things are definitely sent to try us. But I think that the main takeaway is that I guess you show up, a bit like your garden. You make an environment conducive for things to hang out.
Yeah, and if things go
like
wrong, doesn't matter. And yeah, as you said, this is kind of your. It's not like you're presenting to 100 people.
And and the thing is, there's not much of a difference in the scale. And I mean, certainly there's more production elements to make sure everyone gets served. But in terms of the work, talking to one to me is as valuable, if not more so, than talking to 100. So
yeah.
But this has been great. I normally run for about an hour, but I've got.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut you loose.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm going to jump off and get ready for my my 6 o'clock and sort my newsletter out. But yeah, it's been great to chat to you twice today. So yeah.
Yes. So look out for the podcast. I'll be getting that produced and out. It will be out for tomorrow afternoon. So
Excellent.
So I'll share the links with you in the thread, and look out for the next the one-to-one thing podcast show.
You do it. You do your this one-to-one water cooler this time
every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're around, feel free, drop in, meet some people. Yeah, some regulars, some familiar faces, and then some new faces. So it'd be great.
Yeah, good.
Thank you so much, Claire. I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit, have a little chat, and then because I know some people on the East Coast tend to come in a bit later,
might drop
I
in.
just catch them before I go off.
See you later.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your garden.
Will do.
Okay,
bye.
Take care. So there you go. That was great. It was great having a chat with Claire. We got on a call this morning and recorded a podcast show, which is really interesting in terms of her background in that time and productivity management space. So it was great to see her again, to drop in and make that connection. So quick call to action: if anyone's out there and wants to connect with me, reach out, send me a DM through any of the sort of media outlets that I have. Primarily LinkedIn is my space, but SAWright, SAWRIGHT coaching.com is a great place to catch me as well. And the one-to-one thing podcast, Steve Wright, check it out, have a listen. I'll be looking to put some more content up on YouTube and sort of promote a channel there. And all of that really, feels like a lot of work just to kind of get things out into the ether. But I guess we're in a very strange place where attention is king, and trying to get someone's attention for connection, for influence, for business, for sales is always going to be one of those things that you've got to show up consistently, you've got to show up authentically. And that's something that I try to do. I try to instill in the things that I do with regards to, especially this platform, the LinkedIn, the drop-in event on LinkedIn, and also up to more recently the podcast show that I do every week as well. And I really enjoy that because of the variety of people I get to talk to, the gift that they give me of their time to talk and have a chat. And it's an opportunity just to showcase their gold, what they're doing in the world to make things better, different, and an opportunity really just to sort of dig into the power of conversation, the art and science of conversation. And that's really something that I'm passionate about, whether it's with adults or children. I also have a business that provides computing coaching services or computing coding services to primary schoolers. And that's a whole, an exciting and a whole nother genre of interaction, both with the kids, the parents, schools, teachers, and the like. So I'm very excited about that. On that note, I'm just waxing a little bit to see if some of my US folks are up. It's pretty early for them. Let me just check real quick any threads, because Facebook does not let me see what oh, and it's frozen again. Facebook does not let me see what is being posted in that space. So it is sometimes a bit strange to get in here. Oh, frozen again. And I think this may be tied to the fact that I've two sources. I'm keeping talking because I'm trusting that the audio is going to come through. But I've got two video camera sources, and I think that is really hammering there we go. It's hammering the situation here. It's not making it very helpful. Let's have a look here, see if I can actually turn one of these off. I don't want to quit that. I'll hide that. So Let's see. All right, but yeah, all that to say, uh, it's a lot of fun doing this, technically challenging, like today, which is unusual. It's usually not this crazy, but sometimes I'm trying things out. So you're actually being the the test subjects for this. Okay. All right. So on that note, I'm gonna call time for this week. Been a pleasure. Claire, again, thank you for spending the time with me today, both on our podcast and the drop in. Carl, always a pleasure. For those that are catching this on a replay or have been listening in, Will, it's always fun to know that you're checking in and eavesdropping out of the East Coast there. And I will catch up with you all real soon. Watch out for the newest podcast show coming out tomorrow with Claire. And if you're interested in talking to me about coming on for a podcast chat, please reach out. All right, then I'm going to go before this freezing thing just drives me crazy. So blessings. Have a great week.